Okay, the prosecutors were requesting to sentence me to 85 months, which converts to about 7 years or something. Luckily, the judge was smart enough to foresee that this is all just, injustice. Unjust. FB Live, Department of Injustice. That's what we call him, right?
Yeah.
So luckily, he was smart enough to realize that this is just totally bullcrap. Sentenced me to the 40 months. Gave me a few months of self-surrender. During that time frame, I was able to save up enough money for my being a new father and preparing for this possible 40-month term of incarceration. I didn't predict Trump was going to win. I had it in my heart, but not in my mind. Okay? So, during this journey, I self-surrendered. It was a Wednesday. I had to get there at 2 p.m. The moment I hit the compound, I just walked in. I met this gentleman right here, Howard Richardson. Everyone said, "Oh, there's another one of y'all in here." I was like, "Oh yeah? You gotta meet him." So here he is. And we instantly just became best friends. And he had been there much longer than I had.
That's horrible, man.
He received a 46 months prison sentence. He did 32 and a 46.
Wow.
Okay? And when everything was said and done with me, I did 18 on a 40. So with Howard, he was eligible for the First Step Act, which is a law that Trump signed in 2017. Yeah, 2017 for criminal justice reform. So his First Step Act credits kicked in July 30th of last summer. And he wasn't even expecting it. So I'm going to breakfast and someone walks by me and says, "Did you hear Howard's leaving?" I said, "No. He's not expected to be leaving until a few more months, but his First Step Act credits kicked in." And it was very emotional saying goodbye to Howard. I was so happy to see him leave, but I was so sad to see him go at the same time. I'll never forget the last walk we had together. It was Chicken Patty Day. It was a Tuesday. So we doubled up. I think I tripled up. And we got a couple extra chicken patties that day. And I just remember walking back. It was the end of lunch. They're about to close the compound down, And I just remember just crying with Howard. And I just hugged him like I've never hugged anyone. And we did a full year together. July 26th, 2023 to July 30th, 2024. And he was my best friend in there. We played softball. We went to church, Bible study.
Amen.
We went to the library together. We routinely walked around the track. We also participated in bocce ball. I'm not sure it was pretty fun. Howard was a pro. And I never even heard of it until we got there. What else did we get into, Howard? Did that cover everything?
Basketball.
We played a little bit of basketball, yeah.
A lot of bocce ball.
Yeah, we had a blast. He was my best friend in there, and I'll never forget the moments that we had, despite the circumstances. And so anyway, just going back to the Department of Injustice and the FBI and the prosecutors, they just used hearsay against me, and that's where they came up with the 85 months recommendation for the sentencing guidelines, which is totally outrageous.
Totally.
So you sign the plea deal, it's not a deal. There's no deal. But I knew in my heart that the judge was smart enough to see that this is totally, they're using things that don't even make sense to try to prosecute me to the fullest extent beyond the law. Okay? So, luckily, I had my loving fiance there. Our 4-month-old, well, actually, he was only 1 month old at the time of sentencing. And the judge was very, very lenient. So, but, however, Trump was more lenient. And he forgave us. God was with us. And I really appreciate everyone for being here, and to the Republican Women of Baltimore County. And I'd like to save a little bit of time for my best friend from prison, my favorite January 6er, Howard Richardson.
There's so much I could talk about. Way too much. I mean, I don't really know anybody in here, but I see a lot of different people in here, and I could talk a long time. I got lots to say. So let me say it like this.
I wish
I would have known.
I've been on stage many times. I should be very comfortable with this. I don't really want to talk about prison. Prison's boring, right, Jacob?
Yes.
Now you know everything you know about prison. It's just boring. All you do is learn the routine. You do the routine, it's not a problem. You're a stupid idiot, you get in trouble. You get in trouble, okay? Other than that, it's just boring. So, whether it's prison, I can talk about the election in great depth. January 6th happened because of the election.
Howard.
January 6th happened because of the election. Okay? I want everybody to hear what I'm going to say next. If you want to go to a lady by the name of Mel Hawley, some of you know who she is. Go on and I gave her my testimony from prison, and then I gave it to her again when I got out of prison. For an hour and a half, she interviewed me the second time. I personally witnessed major voter fraud on election night. Long story short, I reported it to the Assistant District Attorney of Southeast Pennsylvania. Long story short, he came back to me and said, he wanted me to come in and testify in person. He said, that's great. I said, but we probably won't need you, Mr. Richardson, because we've had so many incidents like yours reported. The evidence was everywhere. Okay? January 6th happened because of the election night. Mel Hawley, I gave her my personal testimony of what I witnessed on major voter fraud with a witness. And then, of course, what happened on January 6th. You want to hear about January 6th? You're wasting my time. It's a waste of time. I didn't go there I went there because I was invited there. I went there because I was hoping in 2009, Labor Day weekend, I was there for the first big Tea Party rally. Right there. Okay? And I was expecting a bunch of representatives, your representatives, you know, the people you pay that work for you, to come out and speak to us again like they did that day. But it wasn't that day. January 6th was a total setup. I knew it that day, but I didn't know because I was by myself. When I got there, within 40 minutes, my phone was cut off. I had other friends down there, but I never saw them or met them because my phone was cut off. I was totally cut off. So I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. But there were so many things. Go to Mel Hawley, go online, look up Mel Hawley. Mel is short for Melanie, and Hawley. And I knew that day something was going on. So I gave my full testimony. She did a great job. You know, she's very well received and very highly regarded. But you go to her for yourself. You want to get my testimony of what happened. Election night, I personally witnessed major voter fraud. And then January 6th. And I kept sawing things as I was walking towards the Capitol. I was one of the first people to the Capitol, by the way. I was at the Capitol at 12:15, maybe 12:20. Okay, I couldn't tell because I had no phone. My phone was cut off. It was working on. As soon as I said the word ellipse into the phone, they cut my phone off. And I asked people as I was walking down Pennsylvania Avenue and then become Constitution Boulevard. I said, "Do you have a phone? Do you have a phone?" Some did, some did not. So they cut my phone off deliberately, in my opinion. Okay, because some people did have a phone, some people did not. If you do any research on your own, they monitored us for months and months. By email, by text message, but who knows, okay? My job when I was in the Army one time, long time ago, 1971, was to surveil people. I know what it takes and what it does to surveil people. We were surveilled long before January 6th, probably by the DOJ. To what degree and to what depth and what they were trying to find out or realize, whatever, I'm not sure, okay? But like I said, I was there about 20 minutes I'd been there, and all of a sudden my phone was cut off. And I don't want to get too crazy. There's so much, like I said, so much I could say. Here's what I want to say, though. Here's what needs to be said, because this is what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks now. I've been home for about 7 months. I contacted Jim Jordan, name sound familiar to anybody? Barry Loudermilk, okay, Georgia, and Clay Higgins.
Yeah.
Anybody familiar with that name?
Yes.
Okay. All of those know the truth.
That's right.
Those three, especially Clay Higgins.
Yep.
I wrote Clay Higgins a letter from prison. I said, great job, most commendable, okay? But sir, what? I'm sitting in the day room again, looking at TV, and I don't see your face on the TV. Why aren't you in front of a microphone? Why aren't you in front of every camera you can do to tell the people the truth? Because he did For 6 or 7 weeks, him and his staff of 12 looked at 4,000 hours of tape from Capitol. Plenty of cameras in the Capitol, okay? He stopped, he said, I got to get in touch with the media. He was so adamant about it. And one of the first people to respond was Tucker Carlson.
That's right.
Yeah.
200, 300.
Big interview, okay? But then, where's Mr. Higgins? I've called him 6 times since I've been out. He's not picked up the phone one time. I wrote him a letter. I wrote him a letter back in late February of 2024. Never heard from him. Jim Jordan was appointed by President Trump to oversee the J6 investigation committee. Barry Loudermilk was the chairperson of that committee. Okay, they've been there about 7 weeks. You could say they haven't had a whole lot of time yet, but they have had time to say, "Hi, Howard. If I know a little about investigating, if I'm investigating, I want to talk to people who were there. Well, here I am, sir. Investigate me, talk to me, have an interview with me." But the only thing I've heard is from Mr. Loudermilk. Mr. Loudermilk's group said, "We'll get you an email, what we're doing, blah, 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 blah." Haven't heard from him yet. You're all Republicans for the most part, okay? You need to call your Republican people, particularly Mr. Jordan, particularly Mr. Loudermilk, and particularly Mr. Clay Higgins. Now, Clay Higgins is an attack dog. Watch him. He's good. But where is he? He hasn't done much. Okay? He did a great job. Great start. But finishing is everything. Okay? So I'm saying to you, you want to know about what prison? Just go to Mel Hoey. I gave my whole testimony 2 times. Okay? It's all there. But you need to call Loudermilk, Jordan, and Mr. Higgins. They know the truth, and they're sitting on it. And I'm damn well fed up with them. I'm fed up with all these Republicans who know the truth. They know the truth, and you're not coming forth with it. I thought they were waiting for Trump to be elected. Okay. We're long past that now. Have you seen Mr. Loudermilk or Jordan or Mr. Higgins on TV saying, "I know the truth of January 6th"? Have you seen him yet? No, you have not. It's a rhetorical question. They haven't been there. They need to do that. And you folks, I'm not asking you to do 14,000 things. Do one thing. Pick up your cell phone, call Loudermilk, Jordan, and especially Mr. Higgins. Tell them Howard said hello. In case you're wondering if I'm a Trump supporter, okay? Like I said, I could go on, but...
I think this gentleman just gave us 3 more action items to add to our list. So we'll follow through.